Welcome everybody. Welcome everyone to the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Commissioners held for the purpose of transacting the general business of the township. Today's date is May 8th, 2024. The meeting is being held in the Springfield Township building, is also being offered in a live streaming feature. The meeting will also be made available on the township's website beginning tomorrow morning. Comments will not be accepted remotely during the meeting, but instructions for submitting public comment in advance of tonight's meeting was provided as part of the posted agenda. Ms. Taylor, if you could summarize any public comment received.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. We received one public comment via email. It was from a resident of Grove Avenue, and they wanted to bring to our attention that there is ongoing illegal business activity at the properties located at 40 and 42 Grove Avenue.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. At this time, if you could please stand and join the Board of Commissioners in a moment of silent reflection to honor the servicemen and women who place themselves in harm's way in order to help preserve our safety at home and overseas. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time, I would entertain a motion dispensing with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting as written and recorded in the official minute book of the township.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote. Other than Commissioner McNamara, who's not with us this evening, we have a full complement of commissioners. And I would like to recognize our Public Works Director, Ian Hammer, is with us. Of course, the chief that we'll hear from shortly. I would like to announce that the Board of Commissioners conducted an executive session as part of its May 6, 2024 workshop meeting to discuss 2 litigation matters. At this time, I would like to invite members from the Springfield Rotary, Sharon Vecchione, President, and Amanda Helwig, President-elect of the Springfield Township Rotary Club. And to join Commissioner Ratsavong at the front of the room, they're here to present a donation for the construction of the PZAC Pavilion as part of the Cisco Park Playground Renovation Project.
Good evening, fellow residents of Springfield Township. My name is Amanda Helwig. I'm Secretary and President-elect of your local Rotary Club. Rotary is a service-based organization. We are one of 1.4 million people worldwide that take time from our family and our jobs to give back to our communities and to the world. And it's that time and talent that we've put forth to bring projects to you. Projects like at Cisco Park, the walking trail, the community board, the bridge, the gazebo. And now with great privilege, we are so happy to be presenting to the commissioners this evening a check for $32,000 to erect a new picnic pavilion next to the new playground that is being built for our community. And what I want to put forth to you all is we're all very busy with our lives, but these are men and women who either live or work in your community that are taking time weekly to meet for friendship, fellowship, and networking to make the world a better place. So if you're interested in Rotary, please feel free to see a Rotarian before we leave. How to put my plug in. But at this time, I just want to give the mic over to Sharon for a second to share with you who we are naming this picnic pavilion after. Sharon?
Sharon Vecchione, and we are naming this pavilion after Bill Pizek, who was very active within the Springfield Township Rotary Organization for over 20 years. He would be the first to step up and volunteer for any of our many projects. He was a true asset to our club and community alike, not to mention just an exceptional person to be around. He gave back to our community in numerous ways, such as starting pitch-in for baseball and softball, which provides sporting equipment for underprivileged children, both in the United States and abroad. He and his father also started a philanthropic endeavor called the Copernicus Society of America, a private family foundation providing numerous donations. His family also donated land for the Wissahickon watershed called the Pizek Preserve, located on Pennsylvania Avenue, providing the community with a scenic walking path. Bill will undoubtedly be missed. However, his legacy will continue to live through his numerous endeavors. Dedicating this pavilion to him is not only a tribute to his life, but a lasting reminder of his impact on our lives.
So Susie, with great pleasure, I present you with a check for $32,000 from the Springfield Township Rotary Club.
All right.
I'll just say on behalf of course, the commissioners and the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, thank you so much for your continued dedication to the community and your continued outreach to the committee and working together to make these wonderful things happen for our park. Thank you so much.
Great. Great, thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Chief Michael Pitko to the front of the room, here to conduct a commendation ceremony to recognize members of the police department who have demonstrated above average initiative, intelligence, and ability as part of their police duties. As some of you may remember, this commendation ceremony was put on hold for a few years after COVID. We did it last year, the first time in a while, so we're very happy that we're able to pick up this important tradition and honor the officer. So, Chief, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Welcome, everybody. It's a good crowd tonight. It's my pleasure to preside over our annual commendation ceremony to recognize, congratulate, and honor a number of officers this evening for commendatory service in 2023. Most of you probably know that our chosen profession continues to struggle with continued downturn in the number of applicants, most likely due to some of the national events in our country. However, it remains one of the most noble professions one can have. Our recent exam, April 27th, at Springfield High School, we had 16 police departments, including ours, involved in the testing process. And going along with the theme here, 124 applied, but only 79 candidates actually showed up for the examination. So you go back about 5-7 years, it wouldn't be uncommon to have anywhere from 300 to 400 applicants at least apply to become a police officer. So we're hoping those numbers start shifting a little bit more greatly over the next year or two. Proud to lead and serve my fellow officers. We continue to honor our oaths of office, serve our township, and growing up here many years ago, it still remains a great community to live, raise a family, and work. So I congratulate all the officers receiving accommodation this evening, but even if you're not receiving a accommodation tonight, thank you for your excellent service to Springfield Township. So we broke it down. Tonight we have letters of commendation, commendation of merit, a unit citation, and our Highway Safety Award. That'll be Officer Gross, but I don't think he's available tonight, but I'll still read that. So let me call up first. I'm going to go back and use it by the date. This is April. So let me call up Sergeant Whitney, Officer Fantry, Officer Winowitz to the front. All right, so these three officers receiving a letter of commendation, reference to an officer needs assistance call, which is gut wrenching when you hear it's toned down as an officer assist. This occurred April 22nd, 2023 at around 9:01 a.m. Sergeant Whitney, Officer Lewinowitz, and Officer Finch responded to the 500 block of Brattle Road located in the Custis Woods section of Cheltenham Township, where an officer needed assistance, a police-involved shooting. Cheltenham Township Police have responded to a disoriented person call, and upon making contact with the person, he attacked a police officer, resulting in the necessity of the officer, a night officer, by the way, of utilizing his taser and firearm. And the officer suffered an injury. Officer Lewinowitz was one of the first officers to locate the injured officer. And once seeing that this officer didn't require immediate medical aid, she rendered aid to the suspect patient. Sergeant Whitney applied a makeshift occlusive chest dressing to the suspect, who was shot, and assisted EMS by applying heart monitor leads while attempting to calm the suspect patient. And finally, Officer Fantry assisted with moving the patient from a wooded area to the ambulance. And he had a set of bolt cutters with him, trying to clear the way, obstacles, and securing the crime scene. A very nice job by the officers, and your actions are in the highest tradition of the Springfield Township Police Department. Open it. Sure. Good. Yeah. Yeah, work.
Good, all right, look at that.
The next two awardees, I don't believe they're here this evening. This will be Detectives Beata and Craig. But a pretty significant case. So let me read that one to you. This would be for a commendation of merit. So May 5th, 2023, at around 10:37 PM, officers respond to the unit block of Red Oak Road, the Woodland section of Springfield Township, for a home invasion, aggravated assault, and robbery of the homeowner. The caller was a relative and reported to 911 that a beating had taken place and his relative was tied up. In addition to our patrol officers, there was a mutual response from police officers from neighboring police departments. Detectives Beata and Craig responded to process the crime scene, documented, photographed, and collected evidence. Numerous search warrants involving digital and non-digital forensics were approved by courts in and out of Montgomery County. As a result of the investigation, 4 suspects from Delaware County were arrested and charged with numerous offenses to include aggravated assault, simple assault, robbery, unlawful restraint, and receiving stolen property, and are currently incarcerated awaiting trial. The complete and arduous investigation led to the arrest of 4 dangerous felons who are thankfully now not preying on any additional victims. So if they were here, I would tell them, your actions are in the highest tradition of the Springfield Township Police Department. All right, next we have Officer Donnelly and Sergeant Wilbur. And you'll note a common theme here. A lot of these incidents occur in the time period between Friday and Sunday, the weekends. Right. This will be a letter of commendation. On July 23rd, 2023, Officer Donnelly was monitoring traffic on Stanton Avenue near Walgrove Avenue and observed a gray Ford Fusion with a license plate displayed in the rear window. Upon checking the registration, he learned that of an aggravated assault warrant out of Philadelphia associated with the owner of the vehicle. You activated your emergency lighting and siren, and the vehicle slowed and turned into the parking lot of the Springfield residences. The driver got out of the car and failed to obey commands, resulting in a foot pursuit. While running, it appeared that the male was reaching toward his waistband. Fearing that he might be armed with a firearm, you deployed your taser twice. However, it was ineffective. The male continued running in the direction of Sergeant Wilbur, who also used his taser, which was effective. And the male was taken into custody. He possessed narcotics, and the vehicle had a .40 caliber extended magazine. The male was medically cleared and processed at our police department and then transported to the Philadelphia Police Department, 35th District, because there were 2 warrants for him, one for aggravated assault, one for aggravated rape. After the Philadelphia Police Department took him into custody, it was determined that this male was a suspect in a homicide that occurred about 8 days earlier, June 15th, 2023. Thankfully, there were no injuries to the suspect or the officers. One of my favorite part about the report was I was reviewing it, and Officer Donnelly had an occasion as the male was bending over, tying his shoes. He said to him, quote, "Don't run, because I'm going to catch you." I think he probably would. I don't think I would have caught him, but so as a result of Officer Donnelly's diligent patrol with an assist from Sergeant Wilbur, a violent individual was apprehended and turned over to the Philadelphia Police to face not only their charges, but our charges also. Your actions are in the highest tradition of the Springfield Township Police Department. All right, now we have Sergeant Balato, Corporal Kaufman, Officer Tauscher, Officer Lopez, who I don't think is here. All right, this is what we call a unit citation, teamwork, August 16th, 2023, at 8:08 a.m. Different officers, responded to a home in the 8100 block of Ardmore Avenue for a report of a stolen vehicle overnight. The keys have been left in the vehicle and they were used to enter the home as well, and items were stolen from the home. 2 days later, August 18th, a second vehicle from the same house was reported stolen to the police. August 20th, 2023 at 12:56 a.m., Sergeant Balato was traveling eastbound on Wargrove Avenue and observed 3 subjects crossing the roadway near Ardmore Avenue. 2 females, 1 male. The females weren't very cooperative and they walked away. The male was observed entering a gate into a yard in the 500 block of Wargrove Avenue. Sergeant Balato notified other officers and they responded to assist. And then Sergeant Balato saw a shadow at a home in the 7900 block of Pleasant Avenue, while Officer Tauscher searched the neighboring property. And after several minutes, Sergeant Balato observed a bush moving, locating where the individual was, or locating the individual. County dispatch added that the second vehicle that had been stolen on August 18th was stationary in that area, about 60 yards from where the individuals were first seen, and about 15 yards from where the male was hiding. As a result of Sergeant Balato's alertness and a response and assistance of Officer Tauscher, Lopez, Corporal Kaufman, the defendant was safely taken into custody, later charged with burglary, receiving stolen property, loitering and prowling at night, false identification of law enforcement. Your actions are in the highest tradition of the Springfield Township Police Department. That's it. And then we have Lieutenant Mursky. This will be also a letter of commendation. Highway safety. Better be you. All right. So in the summer of 2021, the police department applied for and successfully was awarded a Department of Justice Community Oriented Police Services grant to become an accredited agency through the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, or PLEAC. The police department hired a accreditation consultant company to assist us with the process with Lieutenant Mursky, who's designated as our accreditation manager. The intense process involved a self-assessment and formal assessment to ensure that our policies are sound and that we are following our policies for proofs of compliance. Our policy manual consists of 69 policies. Many were updated. The work with the consultants required numerous phone calls, emails, with communications, many of them during off-duty hours. Your leadership and dedication were instrumental in our department receiving a successful initial accreditation on September 22nd, 2023. The assessors remarked that our police department is, with a lot of wells here, well-organized, well-disciplined, well-trained, well-directed, and professional department dedicated to quality service. And much of this success is because of your hard work in the process. So your actions are in the highest tradition of the Springfield Township Police Department. And again, I've been here longer than, only a few other officers probably in the history of this department have more years on than I do. But it's been one of my goals for a number of years to become finally an accredited agency. The 4 departments that surround us have been accredited for quite some time, and this is a nice goal and very successful getting it done. And every 3 years you have to be accredited, but that doesn't mean it just stops. We have to provide proofs of compliance every year. So it's a big process, but it shows that we are following the best practices in law enforcement. So I'm really proud of that. And finally, he's not here tonight, but Officer Gross, he's not available. He's probably making a car stop outside. He gets the Highway Safety Award. Officer Gross is, you recall Officer Wiley received that last year. Officer Gross is assigned to the traffic safety unit. And this award is an annual award to the officer who is nominated by the police department after review of the officer's activity for the year to include DUI, arrest, hazardous moving violations, citations, overall citations, warnings. And here's a big one, parking violation enforcement, because Officer Gross, we'd be receiving many complaints of the Ivy Hill Road area from actually residents in Philadelphia, closer to Stenton Avenue, but complaining about the number of the industrial nature, a lot of abandoned trucks, buses, et cetera. So it wasn't just Officer Gross, our regular patrol officers were out there also. And after a number of parking tickets and warnings, and we're going to tow your truck, et cetera, it's cleaned up rather nicely. So Officer Gross attended basic on-scene crash investigation in April 2021. Advanced and technical analysis collision investigation in June of 2023, and is registered to attend crash reconstruction at the last phase of it. Will be an expert in that. That training is scheduled for September. So the 2023 Highway Safety Award goes to Officer Edward Gross. That's all we have.
Great, thank you, Chief. We would like to invite our officers are recognized to come up for a photo with the board, if you're willing, and then we could take a couple-minute break, and if anyone wants to take photos with their guests, you can certainly do that.
Where are you going to be, right here?
They're gonna go right in front of here probably. We should get out of view.
From now? Yeah.
We'll get out of the way. Yeah. Yes, down.
We're going down.
Okay.
Great. Excellent. You guys want to take any pictures up here? We'll take a couple-minute break. You can stop. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
Even with that, he's going to Missouri.
Yeah.
For the giant check and the accommodations.
All right. Thanks, Chief. Take care. See you guys. Congratulations. Thanks. Thanks for coming in. You did. Oh, my God. Big Chief.
No, 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 no. You come on a break?
Should have coordinated you. I'm just at front of your house, so like. Trying to see my son back.
Yeah. There you go. You got yours.
Your dad didn't want to come out? What happened?
The first floor shower. First floor shower.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I won't say anything. Your dad might be
Tractable
upset.
undercarriage.
Got the work. There's still time for that.
Oh, you're.
You missed it. We already got it on June, July, August.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Based on.
Good. Great.
Great.
I got the word.
All right. No, no. More congratulations.
Yeah. And you're recently married, right? Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, that happened fast.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, unfortunately, my brother kind of sped up our process over Christmas.
Hey, no time like the present.
But the day after Christmas.
You know that we're talking. Can't show us. Yeah, can we get you guys not work that too?
You're the boss.
Yeah, we can make it so.
Oh, this is real.
Yeah. Fine, only if your compensation is 2,500 or lower.
See you guys.
Thank you.
You're like,
Yeah, everyone.
your compensation is 2,500 or lower.
I bet you think something about it.
How old do you have to be to be someone?
Yeah.
My son's 13. Can you make
Go on.
Thank you.
You don't even have to pay him. Yeah, just, you know what, show up. Make sure 18. That's all.
Sort of, so, yeah.
Gonna be
Yeah.
more for them this year.
Love it.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like things different. Yeah. And I'm just like,
All right, so let's pick it back up.
When I was 13, I went out did they?
yeah.
Up and down the street.
The kids can't deliver papers anymore because they don't. Make papers. There's no papers.
No paper.
We rolling this whole time?
I guess,
All right.
to help people hanging on.
We have more things to do?
Cool.
All right. All right, and we're back. Okay, at this time, folks, the board is now open to comments or questions from the public. The board draws particular attention to those items listed on the agenda this evening. Please be advised that once the committee reports begin, the board can no longer accept questions from the floor. At the conclusion of the committee reports, public comments will once again be accepted. However, official action on those issues listed on the agenda will have already taken place. Therefore, if you wish to comment on an agenda item, now would be the appropriate time. If you have a comment, if you come to the microphone and start with your name and address.
Good evening. Name is George Costick, 37 Grove Avenue, Flowertown. Comment is in reference to 40 and 42 Grove. I'm respectfully requesting the Board of Commissioners uphold the zoning board unanimous decision against lifting the variance which currently is in place and where the variance demands that the connecting garage be removed. I'm also asking that you uphold the Planning Commission decision against any lot line changes or adjustments. If there's going to be some sort of settlement agreement, I'm also asking that there be specific language in that agreement referencing the fact that the 40 and 42 Grove are being used as a dispatch center for commercial vehicles. The employees of various corporations that I could tell, 7 days a week, night and day, use Sprinter vans and other commercial vehicles to move back and forth from the property to do whatever it is they do. So I'm asking that if there's a settlement agreement, language be put in specifically forbidding that. And finally, Mr. Jane, who has testified before the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board, has stated that he wants to use the garages to store his personal vehicle. I request that that be demonstrated by those vehicles being registered in Mr. Jane's name and not to a corporate entity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I do want to have a response for you. We did authorize a settlement agreement, I believe it was last month, based on this. So I'm going to ask our solicitor to give you the bullet points of what that settlement agreement included.
Mr. Jane, of course, denies everything that you just said. And I'm not so sure that we all together agree with him, since we have many people who have told us the same thing. We have to do the best we can with the settlement agreement, and he has agreed in that agreement that there shall be absolutely no business activity at the premises whatsoever, and that subdivision where he goes around the garage just goes away. If we have to sue in the future or do something in the future to enforce the settlement agreement, we will need as good evidence as we could possibly get, including neighbor testimony and photographs, if possible, because he denies everything. And I know, you feel otherwise, and so do most of your neighbors. But we're constrained a little bit by the law to do what's fair and right. And some of the things that he wants to do, or he wants his tenants to be able to do, are things that occur in garages all over this township. So we have to distinguish between that and make sure that any services provided, A, are to licensed vehicles, and B, are without charge.
And there was additional stipulations in there regarding the use of those garages, correct?
There were, and if there is any change whatsoever in the future with regard to the ownership of either of those houses, that connection of the two garages has to go away.
Okay, just as a point, his testimony in front of the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board, he admits his employees use his commercial vehicles to dispatch themselves from those locations to various job sites. He's already admitted that under oath.
Right, and that unfortunately is probably not illegal. You are allowed, as many people in this township do, to take your boss's truck home and to go to work in your boss's truck if your boss wants to give you a truck. Some homeowners associations have a prohibition against that you can't have any kind of vehicle that has lettering, for example, on the sides of the doors. But his contention, and it's probably a legal one, is that some of the people who reside, who are tenants on that property, work for him, and he gives them, as part of their compensation, a vehicle with which to go to work or respond to calls. And there's not a lot the township can do about that.
Would that also cover, for instance, when a personal vehicle arrives on site, drops someone off who does not live at that location, hops into one of those Sprinter vans and takes off? Or the other example would be he periodically has other contractors parking their vehicles on the lot, work trucks, racks, the whole 9 yards, who do not live there, who stay there, and then move back and forth as doing whatever work they're doing for them.
Right.
Is that also an allowable activity?
No, that would be illegal if someone is doing that. If they're using the property as a dispatch center and not as a place to park vehicles that are given to them or loaned to them temporarily. So if it's being used as a dispatch center and we can prove it, which is the hard
Oh, I have a
part.
security camera. I'll give you yards of proof.
So we just, this zoning appeal and the subsequent settlement agreement that we voted on last month was obviously a long time coming and a result of a lot of back and forth between the parties. So this is still pretty new. The next phase of that for us is if behavior continues that is not covered under the settlement agreement, then it becomes an enforcement action. So at this point, we're just getting to that stage. So
Okay,
if things happen that need to be reported, you can certainly call the township and
okay.
And make
So
them
would
know.
you consider, for instance, a large delivery truck showing up and delivering numerous used and broken washing machines to that site and being stored in the garage? Would you consider that a non-compliant and illegal activity?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. Because I was told by the gentleman who actually lives there when they first moved in, that he was a manager for Mr. Jane's construction company, I believe. And
Yes.
he told me the garages were being used to store small appliances and other items for his other properties to be repaired and then shipped back out to those.
And
Would
our
that be
settlement agreement
considered,
explicitly address
Prohibits
that.
Yes.
the
and
use
would
of
that
those
be considered
garages.
also illegal or a non-allowable activity?
Yes, sir. It's not a proper use for a private garage under our zoning ordinance.
Okay. And I guess lastly, I'm just running through the list of what happened.
Yeah.
When vehicles show up showing body damage, no license plates, and they start working on those vehicles to repair them, would that be considered unallowable and illegal?
We were pretty specific on that point as well.
And we will have not only in the future, we will have not only a potential violation of the zoning ordinance, but a violation of this settlement agreement.
Okay. And what do you see as the remedy if he violates the agreement?
Well, the initial remedy, if we win, the initial remedy would be a fine. And my experience is that the fines continue to go up and up and up until they become really painful.
And I'm not a lawyer. What are his appeal rights in this
Oh, he can
particular?
appeal anything.
So he can repeat this pattern of going to common pleas court or whatever.
Well, he did agree to the settlement agreement. So that was negotiated.
Okay.
And he's a willing participant in that. And I guess part of that is him dropping the appeal of I guess there was no
Him-
need to do the zoning.
Him dropping the zoning board appeal and withdrawing the subdivision application.
Right. So
Right,
he is
so-
a willing party to the settlement agreement. So
Okay. Because
it's
my
his best
understanding,
interest to just
my
blow it
understanding of
off.
the common pleas court decision was to defer to the planning commission.
I'm sorry, sir, say that again.
His case in front of the common pleas court, the judge in the common pleas court basically deferred his or her decision pending what happened in front of the planning commission. The planning commission ruled against him. Then he appealed to you guys.
I think
Well,
you
the
might be
plan-
talking about the zoning board. The planning commission is just advisory. They don't issue.
Well, I understand they're
decisions.
just advisory, but the judge was delaying any decision on the common pleas end of it until the township made a
That's because he
decision.
filed the subdivision plan, which would remedy the zoning violation.
Correct, and was denied.
Well, he wasn't denied.
He wasn't denied. In fact,
It was
there's
recommended
nothing,
he be denied.
For the lot line.
Correct.
right, but there is nothing, just so you're aware, there is nothing and has not been anything, as far as I'm aware, in front of the Court of Common Pleas.
I can give you,
Nothing.
I can give you the case number if you like.
Well, you'll have to do that. or
Okay, I'll
maybe
send it to Mark.
Okay. because I'm not aware of anything. There is a case in front of the zoning hearing
It's-
board.
No,
It's been extended several times.
yes,
You're
it's
not
been
going-
extended for like a year.
Right,
Oh,
and you're
okay.
aware of that.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, there's no activity,
No, it's been punted back to the township in essence.
right? But we're doing the best we can, but
Oh, no, I
we
understand that.
need really good evidence. And right now we have his word against the neighbors, and the judges tend to cut the baby in half rather than give us what we really need.
Okay, well, now that you've clarified for me what's allowable and unallowable, I'd be more than happy to provide that evidence to you.
You can look in the definition of private garage in our zoning ordinance, and he has agreed that that and only that will be the uses permitted in those garages.
For the two associated with each property, the middle portion, there was some sort of working on a car that was allowable, right? Like a minor, there was something
If
in
it's,
in an hour.
their car.
If it's the owner's car.
No, the tenant's car,
Oh,
because
okay.
the tenant
Oh.
is the occupant. If
Well,
it-
again, referring back to his testimony in front of the zoning board, he said it was his car, his collectible car, that his residents were working on, not the car owned by a resident.
But that was testimony that was a few months ago prior.
By Mr. Jane, yes.
Right, so
Right.
the conversation about settlement agreement came after
Well,
that.
you know, just saying.
Right.
Just for clarification, when was the settlement agreement executed?
It was, I was authorized to execute it by the board at last month's meeting.
Last month's meeting, and then sometime between last month's meeting and within the last few days, I think that they had to be signed in counterparts. So Kate had to sign for the zoning hearing board. I think Andy or Jim signed for the Board of Commissioners, and Mr. Jane was out of the country. He was signing for himself.
And Mr. Costick, are you saying that you've observed this activity, the dropping off of appliances and the
Correct.
the carts in the last few days?
Not in the last few days.
Okay, so I think what we're getting at is there was a lot of activity that we didn't agree with and we thought that ran afoul of things, but that should have been resolved with the settlement agreement, which was recently signed. If you have evidence and if you can observe and report back to us of any of these activities that would have occurred after we had, whenever the date of the settlement agreement is, then we'd be able to enforce something. But
Okay.
anything before that, I mean, he sort of encapsulated that into the settlement agreement, which he agreed not to do.
Okay, I appreciate that, but I'm just giving you the historical context of its
No,
behavior.
I appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, we understand that. We
And
understand.
I would expect it to continue, quite frankly.
The best thing you could do if any of that stuff continues is take some pictures.
I will be more than happy to do that. Do you accept electronic? Because it's going to be coming off my security system.
I accept everything, but it's what the court will accept that is important.
Will you accept a blown up framed, nice wood frame?
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Wooden
accepts
frames.
everything.
Okay, well, I'll decorate the frame nicely for you, so it's at least more palatable that way.
It has to be
Okay.
admissible in court.
Okay, so it needs hard copy, what you're telling me.
Well, you need to say, I took this picture.
Okay,
Yeah, electronic's fine. As long as I can print it and you can say, yes, I took this picture on Thursday.
oh, that's fine, because I've done that before with Mark. I've sent him a picture and I said, and he said, make sure it's some version that he can print.
Right.
Which is what I sent to him. Let you guys go, but the other issue on the street is Mr. Jane at 36 Grove owns the property, rents it to a contractor. The guy leaves the big, large, white vehicle out there overnight, over weekends, and lately started adding trailers to leave it out there. My understanding is they're not allowed to park commercial vehicles overnight in the street.
I don't know about that. Is that true? On public streets or public streets?
Yeah, it depends on the size of the vehicle.
Big.
Yeah.
It's not a pickup truck.
There's a van and there's a dump trailer, correct?
It's not a van. It's a full-size work truck. And this particular incident was a trailer, I don't know.
Okay.
And that's an ongoing issue.
Well, the story we get, we've investigated all of these, and the story we get on that one is that Mr. Jane simply rents the house.
he is the owner of the property and ultimately responsible for what happens on the property, is he not?
He and the tenant.
Not for parking in the street.
Yeah, that's a police matter. If there's a vehicle parked in the street that's oversized, that's a police matter.
Oh, so then I can just call the police and say, throw a ticket on this. And is there a definition of oversized somewhere?
There's a definition of a commercial vehicle in the township code.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your time.
Sure.
Great,
anytime.
thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to our committee reports. As the Public Safety Committee Chairman, I do not have a report this evening, so I will go to our Chairman of the Community Development Committee, Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two reports this evening. The first is a resolution number 1641 regarding 210 Sunnybrook Road. I move the Board of Commissioners adopt resolution number 1641, a resolution granting primary/final approval for a two-lot residential subdivision located at 210 Sunnybrook Road, Flowertown. The project consists of the demolition of an existing single-family detached dwelling and adjacent garage to create two equal lots of 0.215 acres each. No new construction or vegetation removal is permitted until a land development plan is approved by Springfield Township in accordance with the Springfield Township Code. That is my resolution.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
After,
Here goes Susan.
I was gonna say, after the land development plan is approved, is there a period of time upon which construction must begin? And would there be, once again, the problem, as you know, that I'm trying to curtail is a lengthy period of time between the time at which a plan is approved and ready to go and land is scraped and sitting there until it gets built.
I'm sorry,
They
Susie.
can't
I
scrape
couldn't-
any land until they record the plans and they post an escrow account with us
Got it.
and get a notice to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Once the property is subdivided, it would take two land development approvals.
I understand.
Okay.
Right, so this is not a land development approval. This is purely just the approval for the subdivision, correct?
Yes, correct. Susie's concern is once land development approval is secured, is there a time frame
Mhm.
during which the applicant must start construction? Her concern is that vegetation removal may occur, land may be disturbed,
Mhm.
and it will sit, unimproved for a period of time. And that can't occur because they've got to get the approvals, they're gonna secure their escrow accounts and, they're on PDE, well, they don't need a PDES permit, but
Michael, let me just correct one thing. This is only a subdivision, so if
Correct.
Susie's question is, could it sit there just as a subdivision forever? The answer is yes.
yeah,
Sure.
that could happen. But no vegetation
Right,
removal.
but we stipulated that they could not remove vegetation and clear it.
Right.
But they can cut the grass.
They have to go.
Well, sure.
John?
And yeah, part of my frustration with the whole process is, and I understand that our township does allow for this, but to do the subdivision without the land development in conjunction adds a bit of uncertainty to the whole process, whether it is on the vegetation side, just the plan in general. And frankly, there's been a little bit of a lack of candor on the part of the applicant with the surrounding neighbors. And I kind of cite a similar project that we viewed several years ago on Carlisle, where an applicant sought to subdivide their existing property to put a second home on the subdivided plot. And they reached out to, all the neighbors, and they had 45 signatories in support of the subdivision. They made everyone very comfortable with the plans. And I think one of the frustrating things in speaking to the neighbors is there's been no communication. There's sort of no clear sense about the project, the scope of the project, which will dramatically change, this portion of a neighborhood as it's existed for decades. So there's a lot of concern there, and mostly, certainly I oppose sort of the process. But I do understand that that's, how our township would allow the subdivision to go. But I am going to oppose this subdivision tonight, mostly because of that sort of lack of communication, because I do wish that there had been more outreach to surrounding neighbors and sort of getting them on board, at least with a sense of what this project was going to look like. Because there's a lot of concern about it. So, I recognize that this subdivision is by right, but there are certainly a lot of nervous people that are still nervous about what this project will do to their neighborhood. So for those reasons, I'm going to oppose this tonight.
Are we able to oppose a by right subdivision?
We can vote against it and they can go through the legal process to appeal that through the courts.
Is that how we want to spend our time?
I'm not asking,
I'm asking.
I'm not asking for support on this. I'm just,
No, I know, I
I'm
guess my
opposing this
question-
for,
My question is, will the board experience any potential legal fees for the commission to challenge something that has been challenged in court? I know, John, I know you're not suggesting that we all vote against it. I'm just curious as to what the process is for something that's by right.
I don't think, well, first of all, I don't think, as John has suggested, that this is a good idea. I would like to see this as infrequently as possible, because if somebody comes in on one of these two lots and there's a problem, then he's going to say, well, I can't, it's not my fault. I can't help
You
it
don't want to be.
because, because
Yep.
it's subdivided now and, now I need a variance. But somebody created that hardship
Correct.
by the subdivision.
Correct.
So the answer to your question, can we oppose, could we stand in the way of a by right subdivision? Probably not successfully. However, it's still a bad idea.
Well, and then I guess the question then, and this is probably not for tonight, is then maybe we should take a look at the rules that allow it, if that's not something that we really want to do.
I think Mike suggested that on Monday.
Yeah, your subdivision of land ordinance is in the process of being revised by the planning commission, and I expect that it will address this. We'll call it a loophole or this longstanding way we've always done it.
Okay.
So you're saying the bad idea is to have the subdivision without the land development as part of it. It's part of it.
Correct. I've done it, I must admit, I have done it on occasion for much larger pieces of ground where there is tax planning and somebody's about to die. And somebody says, I want to give my son this half and my daughter this half and let them worry about land development later. And that's the only time I've done it. This is being done where it's, the two lots are
Bifurcated.
really
The
small.
the process should, okay, yeah. Understood. Thank you.
But under our current code, this is a by right
Correct.
subdivision. that we-
Okay, all right, understood. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay.
nay.
Please record a 5-1 vote.
My second report, Mr. President, is regarding subdivision of 40/42 Grove Avenue. I move the Board of Commissioners accept a letter dated May 6, 2024 from a Gerald Rath Esquire on behalf of the owners of the real property located at 4042 Grove Avenue, Flowertown, extending the 90-day subdivision/land development plan review period through June 13th, 2024. The subject of the application is a lot line adjustment that proposes to transfer 2,936 square feet of land from the property at 42 Grove Avenue to the property at 40 Grove Avenue. The extension of time will allow the applicant the opportunity to revise the plans in order to comply with the Springfield Township Code. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
So as it exists now, when would they have to be in compliance, or when would this expire?
The way the announcement was just made, it sounds like they're gonna change what they're gonna do, and my understanding is they're not gonna change what they're gonna do. If we are able to wrap this up, they'll just withdraw the subdivision request completely. They, if you recall, they wanted to change the lot line
Yeah.
to draw the line around the garage.
So this extension essentially is just allowing that process to finalize, that settlement process.
Correct,
Without us needing to issue a formal decision.
correct.
We're not extending their ability to be in compliance with
Yeah,
No.
that. Okay. Okay.
what you're doing is avoiding a deemed approval because we failed to act on it.
Okay.
Those are the right words I was looking for.
Bless you.
Deemed approval. There you go. Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
And that concludes my reports, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. We will now go to the Chairman of the Administrative Fiscal Affairs and Zoning Committee, Commissioner Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the April check reconciliation in the amount of $1,144,917.26 and the May bill listing in the amount of $942,751.59. That's my motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
Next, regarding the zoning hearing board meeting for the month of May. The zoning hearing board will meet on Monday, May 20th at 7 PM within this Springfield Township building to receive testimony on the following 3 applications. Excuse me, 2 applications. I don't need to read that first one, right, Mike?
Stefano.
Yeah, you can probably avoid bringing that, but we expect that to be withdrawn
Okay.
altogether.
So the following 2 applications. First application is from Stephen and Samantha Honeywell, owners of the property located at 910 Campbell Lane in Winmore. The property is also known as parcel 5200-0289, where the applicants are seeking a variance to seek approval to relocate an existing side property through the subdivision process that will have the existing detached masonry garage 3 feet 3 inches from the adjusted property line. That property is zoned within the D residential district of Ward 5. And the second application is from the Institute of the Achievement of Human Potential, owners of the property located at 8801 Stanton Avenue in Winmore. The applicants are appealing the actions of the zoning officer related to the violation letter dated February 1st, 2024. And the alternative, the applicant has requested a variance regarding required on-site parking. The applicant is seeking approval to use portions of the property for catered rental events, as well as the headquarters and a private school for neurologically impaired youth under the name of the Institutes for the Achievement of Human Potential. That property is zoned within the institutional district of Ward 2. Again, those 2 applications will be heard on Monday, May 20th at 7 PM in this township building. That's my report.
Thank you,
Can I
Commissioner
just
Cobb.
comment on that?
Yes, sir.
With regard to that, because we have television watchers potentially, I just
One.
wanted. One?
Yep.
Okay, well, I just wanted to tell that one person or anyone who wants to or anyone who may see this film later or see this tape later, that there's a strong possibility that the second one will be continued until June.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we will now go to the chairwoman of the Parks and Recreational Resources Committee, Commissioner Retsavan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 motions and an announcement regarding Memorial Day. First, this is regarding the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. I move that the Board of Commissioners reappoint Lee Aberly, Adrian Smythe, and Nick Mateo to new 3-year terms of service as members of the Springfield Township Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. The new terms of service shall expire May 12, 2027. In addition to the reappointments of 3 existing committee members, the School District of Springfield Township recently informed the township that Charles Watley, Director of Operations, will replace Kara Green, Business Manager, as one of the 2 designated school district representatives on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Therefore, I move that the Board of Commissioners appoint Charles Watley, Director of Operations, for the School District of Springfield Township to fill an unexpired term of service ending May 12, 2026. I guess technically those are 2 motions, right?
Yeah, they're 2 separate ones. but
Sorry about
you
that.
can commingle if you want.
Can I
Okay.
commingle those motions?
Yep.
I intend to commingle these motions, and I move that we reappoint the 3 and appoint Charles Watley in place of Kara Green. That is my motion.
Okay, we have a comprehensive and commingled motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
Next is regarding the special event permit for Memorial Day. I move that the Board of Commissioners grant permission to the Arthur V. Savage American Legion Post of Winmore to utilize Veterans Park for a Community Day event following the annual Memorial Day Parade and to serve beer at the park as a part of the event. The permission is granted subject to the following. The American Legion Post secures a permit for the use of the park. The American Legion Post hires a police detail to be at the park while beer is served, and the Post secures an insurance writer for the day's events, naming Springfield Township as an additional insured. That is my motion.
Was there any indication of what type of beer would be served?
Hang on one second. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
Thank you. I apologize for that. Was there any mention of what kind of beer would be served?
No, that's gonna be a surprise.
It will taste great and it will be less filling.
As long as it's cold.
But it's always free.
Always free.
Always,
Yes.
always free. I second.
The best.
We only approve free beer. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
Regarding Memorial Day, while here, let me just do 2 quick announcements. Memorial Day 2024 will be observed on Monday, May 27th, 2024. The parade will begin at 9:30 a.m. at the intersection of Willow Grove and Traymore Avenues. Following the parade, a remembrance ceremony will be held at 12:15 at the Veterans Park Memorial. The Community Day activities will be held from approximately 12 to 3 p.m. on the lower fields at Veterans Park. In addition to the Memorial Day activities that will take place in Winmore, a memorial service will be held at the Flowertown Erdenheim Veterans Memorial at 12:30 on Memorial Day. The Veterans Memorial is located in the 1400 block of Bethlehem Pike across from the Black Horse Inn. Now we're going to move on to a special event permit for Flag Day. And in that regard, I move that the Board of Commissioners grant permission to the Arthur V. Savage American Legion Post of Winmore to utilize Veterans Park for a flag retirement ceremony in conjunction with Flag Day on June 14, 2024. The ceremony will be conducted at 5 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial in the 900 block of Willow Grove Avenue in Winmore. Permission is granted with the condition that the American Legion Post secures an insurance writer for the event, naming Springfield Township as an additional insured. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
And is that an opportunity for residents to bring older flags to be retired too? That's what it's for.
Yeah, they can bring them in advance if they want. There's a bin right outside of the
Post.
post, I believe.
And-
Firehouse.
And if I, correct me if I'm wrong, you wanted to do this administratively moving forward as opposed to having to do this on an annual basis?
That's correct. If they ask us to do it every year. It's a
Sure.
small sum.
Maybe just worth making an announcement to
Making
remind
an
folks.
announcement.
Right. All right, that's my motion.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Do we already have a second?
Yeah.
All right,
Sorry.
We have a
Third.
second.
Third.
Any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote. Please record a 6-0 vote.
And that concludes my report today, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Retsavan. We'll now go to the Chairman of the Environmental Resources Committee, Commissioner May. In May.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will first begin with the recycling report. And during the month of April 2024, Springfield Township residents recycled 160.4 tons of materials with a householder participation rate of 80%. The net cost for the month was $21,524.31. Board of Commissioners would like to remind residents to remove all packing materials from cardboard boxes before placing materials out for collection. Packing materials such as plastic air packs, bubble wrap, plastic bags, and polystyrene styrofoam packaging are contaminants that must be removed from cardboard boxes before they can be recycled. Cardboard boxes that contain packaging materials will be considered trash and disposed of accordingly. So important to get that out, otherwise your recycling efforts are for naught. Next, regarding the Environmental Advisory Commission, I have a motion. I move that the Board of Commissioners appoint Ben Schmenek and Alex Waldman as associate members of the Springfield Township Environmental Advisory Commission. Associate members do not have voting privileges, but attend and participate in all meetings of the commission and assist with educational programs, research, and special projects. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
I just want to make note that these are, these individuals we interviewed last, this
Monday.
Monday, yes, okay. And they're both extremely well qualified, and we're, I think, extremely lucky to have them on this committee.
Indeed.
I would add, I've heard from other members of the EAC, and they're ecstatic with, the talent of these individuals and the energy that they're going to bring to the table.
Great. Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Commissioner May. As usual, your recycling report managed to clear out the remainder of the room.
I'm going to spice it up next month.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Might need a hot tip for the month. As you know, Commissioner McNamara is not with us this evening. She is the chairwoman of the Public Works and Facilities Committee. And I will ask that her report be given by Commissioner Morris, who is also our chairman of our Cultural Resources Committee. Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Chairwoman E.A. McNamara, I'd like to request an award and 2 authorizations for tonight. First, request for award is a bid for Integrity Avenue Stormwater Detention Basin. On the 12th of April, 2024, bids were received for the Integrity Avenue Stormwater Detention Basin project. Bids were received from 3 contractors and ranged from a low of $276,545 to a high of $287,684.50. The projects included the construction of a stormwater detention basin, berm, rain garden plantings, outlet structure, and storm sewer piping on portions of 3 properties located in the 300 block of Integrity Avenue in Orland. Storage capacity of the basins is approximately 35,000 cubic yards. Therefore, on behalf of Commissioner McNamara, I move that the Board of Commissioners award a contract to Plymar Construction Company of Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, for their low bid price, $257,000.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
Excellent. The first authorization for which we are seeking authorization for is a bid for Skyline Drive Stormwater Detention Basin. On behalf of Commissioner McNamara, I move that the Board of Commissioners authorize the advertisement of bids for the Skyline Drive Stormwater Detention Basin project. The project includes the retrofit of an existing stormwater detention basin located west of Skyline Drive and adjacent to Aurora Street in Erdheim. The scope of work includes the reestablishment of a berm adjacent to Aurora Street, replacement of the existing outlet structure, elimination of a low flow channel, and the installation of landscaping. The purpose of the project is to enhance storage volume and improve water quality. The purpose of the the Board of Commissioners has authorized the expenditures of up to $110,000 in American Recovery Plan Action Funds to complete the project.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote.
Lastly, section 1501 dot 2 of the Pennsylvania First Class Township Code sets forth the regulations for the sale of township personal property via electronic auction. The fleet supervisor has requested permission to sell various items that are scheduled to be retired or replaced in 2024. Therefore, I move that the Board of Commissioners authorize the sale of the following used equipment via the Municipid online auction site. Those pieces of equipment are a 2006 Caterpillar 248 skid steer loader, a 2000 International Model 4900 sewer truck, a 2000 International Model 7400 brine truck, a 2005 International Model 7400 dump truck, a 2000 International Model 4900 dump truck, and a 2003 Chevrolet K3500 utility body truck.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
My only question is, have we replaced all these vehicles that we are auctioning off?
The answer is the skid steer loader was recently replaced.
All right,
The sewer truck will not be replaced.
okay,
The pump on it went bad and we deemed it unnecessary to repair. We want to get rid of the truck. The brine truck will not be replaced. The dump truck is being replaced. The 7400 model dump truck and the 4900 model dump truck, both will be replaced. And the K3500 utility body truck has been replaced.
has been replaced. Okay, okay. Will any of these yet to be replaced trucks, will they be, will electric vehicles be considered for any of these to be replaced trucks?
They don't make them in that size vehicle.
They do not. Okay.
That brine truck's not being replaced?
No.
Is anybody salty about that?
Wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah.
So come in metallic mint green.
The room wasn't clear before that. I was gonna do it.
That did it, yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the report of Commissioner McNamara.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. At this time, public comment. We are once again open to receiving public comment. Hearing none, I would, what's that thing? I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
But one more announcement. Sorry. In our ward, we're hosting a meeting of neighbors in the Whole Drive area, in the low-lying area of Whole and Marshall to address potentially any, I would say address to hear and listen to any concerns those individuals may have regarding water in that area on Tuesday, May 21st at 6 p.m. in the library. Our township manager and township engineer intends to be there to help field those or receive that feedback and answer any questions. So for those residents of Winmore interested in that topic, Tuesday, May 21, 6 p.m. at the library. That is it.
Great, thank you.
Mr. President?
Sure.
I just want to say that as chairman of the Cultural Resources Committee, I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris.
And now I would move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn.
We have a second. We've had some comments
Head down there.
and Let's vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Please record a 6-0 vote. We are adjourned.